Hi home bakers! Today I'm in the kitchen making an old-fashioned apple pie. This apple pie recipe is a family favorite for both Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's everything an old-fashioned pie should be. A light, flaky homemade crust, syrupy apples, and the perfect amount of cinnamon spice. This is going to make your whole house smell incredible. This timeless dessert is a comfort food classic. The kind of recipe every home baker should have tucked in their back pocket. So if you're looking for a truly foolproof from-scratch apple pie with old-fashioned flavor and bakery-worthy results, you're going to love this recipe. So let's get into the kitchen. This is how I make an old-fashioned apple pie. I'm going to start this recipe by making the rich and flaky pie crust. If you already have some store-bought pie dough, or if you have your own homemade flaky pie dough ready to go, then click on the timestamps below this video, and you can skip ahead to making the apple pie filling. For this apple pie recipe, you need a double pie crust. I'm using my favorite foolproof big batch holiday pie dough recipe for this. In a large bowl, mix 5½ cups of flour, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm going to add 2 cups of cold butter that I've already cut into little cubes. Then with either your fingertips, a pastry blender, or a mixer, work the butter into the dry ingredients until you have a dry, crumbly mixture. Then I'm going to add in 1 beaten egg, and to bring the dough together, I'm going to mix in 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 3/4 cup of cold water. As soon as the dough comes together, I'm going to form it into 2 or 3 small discs. Wrap it in plastic wrap and chill it in the fridge for at least an hour. I made mine the night before, so it's going to sit and chill in the fridge overnight. To make the homemade apple filling, I'm going to wash, peel, and thinly slice 8 to 10 apples. To make an apple pie, you can use a mixture of different types of apples, some tart and some sweet. This will give your finished pie a deliciously complex flavor profile. Or you can use your favorite variety of apple. Remove the core from each apple, and then I'm going to use a mandolin to cut my apples quickly and thinly. But you could also do this step with a knife. I like my apple pie filling to be on the softer side, so I'm going to place the sliced apples in a sauce pot on medium heat. Cook them down for about 10 minutes to soften the apples and remove any excess moisture. Then I'm going to remove it from the heat and stir in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. The cornstarch is going to mix with the juices as the apples cook down in the pie. This is going to thicken the filling. Now, if you already have a store-bought pie crust ready to go, you can go ahead and spoon the filling into the dough. If you've made your own homemade pastry for this pie recipe, it's time to roll it out and line your pie plate. Roll the pie dough out about 1/8 of an inch thick. Then form it to the inside of a 9-inch pie plate. I'm just going to simply cut the excess dough away from the edges. And now I'm ready to spoon in my apple filling. I'm going to be making a shortcut lattice top for my top pie crust. Just simply cut alternating slashes on top of the top pie crust. Then as you stretch it out, it should give you that same lattice top design, but without all that finicky weaving. And just dab a little bit of water onto the top of the bottom crust. Press the top crust down to seal and then trim away the excess of the edges. And just before going into the oven, I'm going to lightly beat 1 egg and brush this on the top crust. I'm just going to dust the top with a little bit of granulated sugar. Place the pie plate on a cookie sheet just in case of any leaks while it bakes in the oven. And my pie is ready to bake in my preheated 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 degrees Celsius oven for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to reduce the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius and continue to bake the pie for another 40 to 45 minutes, or until the apples are tender and the crust is golden. Remove the pie from the oven and allow it to cool before you slice and serve. This will allow the apple filling to set and will give you a perfectly sliceable pie. This pie is perfect to serve with a dollop of whipped cream or a scoop of vanilla ice cream to melt on top. Is there anything more nostalgic or heartwarming than a freshly baked old-fashioned apple pie? And as always, you can find a link to the full written recipe in the description box below. Enjoy! If you're a fan of deliciously simple vintage recipes and old-fashioned skills, then you'll want to check out this next video. Thanks for stopping by.